Hello everyone, welcome to Artistically Married, where art and opportunity collide. We're your hosts, Jake Ackerman.
And Brianne Steinberg.
And today we are talking about decision making and the artistic mind.
Amazing. You guys made a decision to listen to this podcast right now. Good job. I just wanted to thank you guys so much for all the love and support. It's been amazing just continuing to grow the podcast. I also wanted to remind you guys again that we just opened our webpage. So if you are interested in kind of getting information or looking us up, we're at artisticallymarried.com. We'd love for you guys to follow us there. You can also get your podcast feed there, so you can check it out there. You can listen to the podcast right on there. And as it gets more robust, we will be working towards getting some videos on there, some pictures. So yeah, definitely check it out if you haven't already, artisticallymarried.com. We also have our Patreon set up there. So if you guys are interested, we're also doing on all our episodes for the last, I think it's been 4 weeks now. We're doing behind the scenes. So if you guys are really into it and you're loving our content, definitely check us out on Patreon. We have like a low membership of like $8 a month. You guys can check out the behind the scenes stuff on Patreon.
Cool. So decision making is the process of choosing between different options, ideas, or directions, obviously. For artists, decision making is often deeply tied to creativity, intuition, emotion, and personal expression. Unlike many structured professions where decisions are based primarily on data or clear outcomes, artistic decisions often involve balancing instinct, experimentation, and technical knowledge.
Yeah, so I was just kind of thinking about this from an artist standpoint. I think I'm a dance studio owner, but hanging out with a lot of artists, it's really interesting to see kind of how artists make decisions. It tends to, they tend to be really intuitive people. They tend to be really creative and they're confident in their ideas, which I think it's awesome. That's why our friend group is predominantly artists in whatever trade they're in. They tend to be art-based. So I think it's been really interesting for me to kind of go through that. And then now I'm going through the evolution of being a business owner and I'm being coached really. None of this is native to me. None of it's intuitive for me to just be like, I'm going to sit back and, survey my whole population and find out what they think before I make a decision. Looking at we're going to get into it, the different platforms that we use, but it's not natural for me to be asking other people's opinions. Really, I've always been like, I'm right. Everyone else will just follow what I like. And, my decision making has always been really based confidently. So it's really new to me to be starting to think about we're going to get into database decision making. So using like analytics and using demographics to really make your decisions in your art.
Yeah. For artists during the process of making art, your decision making it's helpful to be open-minded and out of the box. But then when you get into the reality of your normal life, sometimes people are like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's true. I know sometimes. Yeah. And again, we're going to talk about kind of the pros and cons of it, but it is really, let's just say interesting because it's not right or wrong, but it is really important for an artist to be using it as like a therapeutic tool, right? We always talk about on the podcast how people are using their art for like their own personal, cathartic reasons. They're trying to like work through something or process something. So it is their own artistic impression or their own artistic experience. So it's really hard to say that, you should have gotten feedback on this halfway through your picture. It's a weird experience for an artist. Or why didn't you let someone listen to this music and they would have told you, the first verse was crap and you should have started over. It's a weird balance. And we're going to talk about kind of why artists do make decisions the way they do, how the feedback loop has like evolved over time and how they blend the two together. Awesome. So yeah, in recent years, it's been really important for industries to shift towards a data-driven approach. And this has really come to fruition, I think, supported by computational tools. So the advancing in computing, allowing large amounts of data to be collected, organized, and analyzed much faster has allowed humans to kind of look at. So if you're just looking at, let's just take in a business, you're looking at all your receipts. that's too daunting, right? It's too overwhelming. But now we have like computer programs that's like putting it all together, and you can look at a profit loss sheet and kind of see like where you made your money and how much money came in and what you sold and those kind of things. So
yeah, exactly. This is something that's only been around maybe like the past 20 years, because before that, yeah, you had a box full of files, but everything was on paper somewhere, and paper was the only trail that you had, where now everything can be, it can function together, and it can be searched, and it can be compiled, and it's just a wild world.
I wonder when the Excel sheet came out.
Yeah,
that was like life changing. Like,
well,
being able
computers, that was one of the first things they did. Like when you had the old Commodores and stuff like that, you could type as opposed to writing a letter, and you could do math on a calculator. And
even just like moving information around, right? It's not like stuck in one spot on a sheet of paper where you're erasing it and trying to rewrite it, and just being able to cut and paste stuff is amazing. So businesses, artists, marketers, and organizers now are using these digital platforms. A lot of them have like an analytic dashboard, so they can really manipulate their reports to like show them the data that they want based on like the decisions that they're trying to make. There's a lot of algorithms involved to identify patterns in different audience behaviors, trends, engagement metrics, and performance outcomes. So these computational systems that, like Jacob mentioned, have really like transformed raw information, and it's made it really like structured and been able to offer people insight when they're going to make more objective decision making.
Yep.
Okay, so do we want to talk about a few of them? Like, we can talk about the ones we use anyways.
Well, yeah, basically any computer platform now. It's funny because it used to be like a business only thing, and now they've kind of just done it for everybody. So your Facebook page will have like analytics, and you can be like, oh, how many of my friends looked at my
post, my kid's birthday party. It's just such like a tally sheet, and we're going to talk about all the reasons
just tracking everything.
We're going to talk about why it's great. I mean, as like a business owner, I think it is amazing, because like you're dealing with money spend, you're dealing with budgeting, and like you don't want to be spending budgeting money on things that are not going to sell, right? Even just like, once in a while I'll buy something and I'll try to sell it in the studio and nobody buys it, right? Or I try to run a program and no one signs up. So I think there's money at stake. So I think these like data management softwares are really helpful for people. So just for my case, I just want to use this example so you guys really understand and have like a concrete example of it. So I used to, when I was doing registration, the parents would come into the studio and they would try to register, and I would hand them a paper copy, and they would sign their kid's name, and they would follow, check off the boxes of the classes that the kids wanted to take. And then, I was left with like all these pieces of paper of these kids that wanted to register. So the organization process in that was like daunting enough. And then they had to pay for the lessons, right? So again, similar to like, a grocery store that used to just take cash and have to check it out and put it out, like have a running tally. Parents were paying monthly for these, like for dance lessons. So I thought I was the smartest person in the world 10 years ago. I'll never forget. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get them to do post-dated checks. And like, I thought I was the smartest person in the world. I would sit there for like 45 minutes once a month and be like, taking out these checks and, filing them and cashing them on the computer. So fast forward to now, and I have this program. It's called Dance Studio Pro. It does all the intake, the registration process. And now it's hooked up to like our CRM, so I can email out when like it's time to register for kids. I can advertise, I can market to it. And then on the, we talked about this with John McGowan. He was saying like the biggest revolution thing for businesses was to be able to take money. It was such a hard thing because you're like trusting someone to take money ahead of time, right? Or out of your bank account, doing that like direct deposit. Was wild. So even that platform now is like just help my business run so easily. And then the tracking part of the data management analysis part is that I can print out any report for, any program or any amount of money that came in or any kid that was registered. I can check, the ages and the birthdays, and, it just allows you to streamline your decision making into like such specific ways. So now when I go to like add a class or change a product or, sell something, I'm able to like back it up with numbers that like plays such a key role in the process of your decision making for your art to make sure that it's going to be well received from your audience.
Yeah, or as best as it can be, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you're still going to have, complete fails because you picked the wrong date or the wrong size or whatever.
Or
there's
the wrong
lots of things.
topic, or your video sucked, or whatever it is. I know that YouTube will give you suggestions like, oh, right now videos of this are trending. Well, I'm like, well, I don't do anything like that. So
yeah. I guess I'm not going to smash eggs on my head today. No thank you. So our podcast, same thing. We also look at like demographics. So like when we are writing our podcasts, I still say we come from like I think we still are really in the infancy of our podcast. So I think we really still write from the fact that we want to talk about it and we're comfortable talking about it. It's subjects that we're interested in. So I think it is still really like an intuitive decision making for our podcast. But I do really like, now we have like, how many episodes? 70? 75?
Yeah, we're in the 70s now.
Yeah, between the 2 seasons. So now we really are starting to go back and see like, what do you guys like? Who do you like to hear from? We're also looking at our demographics. So like locally, we have a huge following that is like local and Canadian. So we love that. And we love to like cater to our Canadian listeners. And then also like, gender and age, those things come into play too. So we're really able to kind of analyze those data findings and know what you guys want to hear and what you want to listen to based on what you're doing on your end, on the listener side. And Jacob mentioned it before, but there's also tons of analytics of like views, listens, subscribers, all those things. Don't forget to subscribe, like and subscribe. Make sure you like and subscribe. Those things kind of dictate, right, how well you're doing and how much audience attention you're getting.
Yep.
Do we get them all? Instagram, obviously, same thing. You're able to kind of see the attention or the views
we could
and likes.
just name platforms, but basically any platform now is tracking. Even Google Maps, like you can go through there and it'll have analytics and it'll just show you everywhere you've been in your entire year or whatever. Which is, kind of wild if you're happy with somebody tracking everywhere you go, but it's very interesting to look at when you...
Do you hate that?
Half and half. On the one hand, I hate it. On the other hand, it's kind of cool just to see all the places you went that year, because even it'll give you when you're on vacation and you went to this place and this place, so all these blue lines all over the map that you had traveled.
Very cool.
Kind of interesting.
When we were really young, like you used to go crazy about getting tracked.
Actually, with that, there was a guy.
You were like turning your tracking off and like covering your camera. You used to be pretty suspicious.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I learned it's just it's ubiquitous. You can't get away from it.
Yeah, it really is like part of our life now. My argument was always like, we're not doing anything bad, so like go ahead, track me, figure out what I like, and entertain me the way I want to be entertained. So
there's a cool story with the Google Maps thing. There was a guy that would like ride a bike, and he would try and draw pictures with his pathway on his bike.
That's
and
amazing.
He would come back and he'd have like a picture of a dinosaur that he drew in this like route that he did.
So great. That reminds me of like that art attack guy. Remember he used to do those like big art attacks? Actually, that's what I was thinking when we were in Peru with the Nazca lines too. I was like, this is a giant art attack.
Big Alps attack.
Big Alps attack. Yeah. How did they do that?
Nazca lines?
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah.
Right? They must have had some aerial things.
That's what the guess is.
Yeah. Yeah, they must have. Cool. So I use this as an example. So like marketing teams, and I really love like the idea of kind of having it like be teams working together on art too. This has been like the first time in my life where it wasn't just like, it's not just me making these decisions. I kind of have like a board of really high performing, intelligent women that are all on my team, and I love like bouncing ideas off them. So we're going to get into this in the podcast too and talk about just kind of collective genius. But yeah, teams of people now will use like the analytics of an audience to determine and make those decisions on like where to put their energy, right? Where to put their money, where to put their views, even like down to like now we're analyzing like, do we like this font? Does this font make people excited? Are parents drawn into the color purple? So you really do start to combine your creativity with these like computational analysis to make like the best decision. I think at the end of the day, you still go back to your intuitive decision. You still trust yourself as an artist. You're just kind of getting more like data to support it, right? You're like, oh, this is what I thought, but I'm just going to check and see if my audience likes this. And then you're like, oh, yeah, okay, it's what I thought. And then you go forward.
Yeah.
Just gives you a little more confidence.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, it depends what the goal of what you were doing with it is.
100%.
So
yeah. I mean,
for
not
some
most
of it, you
artists
just don't care. Like,
yeah.
this is weird and I'm going to do it because it's weird and I want to do it. And if people like it, great. And if people don't, then whatever.
Yeah. And we're also finding too, and we're going to get into like the internet use.
But if the goal is to get 100,000 views and you get 10, then.
Yeah. You got to go Mr. Beast mode. Mr. Beast all day. Yeah, I agree. I think like we talk a lot about this, like again, we talked about it at the top of the episode, but like a lot of art is done for yourself. Like,
yes.
You know, when I just put on music and I'm dancing around, sometimes I'm choreographing, but lots of times I'm just like getting my movement out. I'm getting my sillies out. I'm choreographing or I'm dancing to like feel that sense of inspiration, right? Or, you know, you're drawing because it feels good. You're not doing it under the pretense that anyone's going to buy it or see it later. So I think those are really important artistic decisions that you're just making for yourself.
Yep.
Even just our time spent. I was thinking about this when I was writing the episode, but like, you know, you're just like, oh, I have like an hour to spend. How am I going to spend it? Like, that's an artistic decision, right? You're just going to do some yoga, or you're going to go for a walk, or you're going to make some food or play with your kids, you get a board game out. So all those like little decisions that we make on like a moment to moment basis in our life really do get influenced when you are from an artistic mind.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk really quick about kind of like the flip side to that with like when you are keeping an audience in mind. Sometimes as an artist, I was like the worst for this, and really the team is starting to help me, but I was just so biased. Like my decisions was right. Like I was just so confidently wrong so often, and you just don't get it. You don't realize, because you can't be in anybody else's brain. You're like, nobody likes this. And then you start talking to people and you're like, oh my gosh, like I was wrong. Like I thought, you know, that no one liked this experience, and it turns out they did. So I know that's vague, but I just mean, you know, sometimes you need to literally ask. Like you need to ask the people around you, like, what do you guys want to do? What do you guys like? Instead of just being so, you know, confident in your decision making and your creativity when you're making decisions. Like sometimes you really don't know what everyone around you is thinking.
I know that was always mind-blowing for me. It was like commercials, and I always thought, how does this work for anybody? Like people see these things and then they're just like, I gotta go out and buy that thing. And for me
too.
It was,
like,
but I think people really are like that. They see that and
they're
like, this is great. I'm buying it.
Yeah.
Where for me, it gave me the opposite reaction.
Yeah,
I was like,
bullshit.
Oh, you wasted my time.
Yeah,
I hate
exactly.
that thing.
This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, I know I even do it now with like, especially with social media. Like I'm literally just swiping my head off. I'm like the person, I'm like, I'm going to delete you and block you. Like I never want to see this again. You know, that's how like confident I am in my hatred of like some kind of marketing, specific marketing, right? So I don't think you're alone in that. Yes, lots of times people are like, this is bullshit. But that's why everybody has their own, algorithm. That's why
exactly.
Now I've trained AI, I've trained my Facebook, like it never shows me anything I don't like. Everything I see, I'm like, I like that, like that, like that, like that. You know, I've trained it to only show me things I like. Yeah. And now I only really have like 5 people I like.
Yeah, there's probably a huge population of people that watch that commercial and giggle every time and then buy the product.
Well, I really worry about that with our kids. I'm like, oh gosh, like when we were kids, what did we have? We had like the commercials that were on national media, right? And those were like very specialized, and like they put a lot of work into those commercials. And they were like done well, you know, most of them, even if you weren't going to buy the product, you're like, okay, this is like some good cinematography. This is like whatever. Now they're like Blair Witch Project, and the kids are into it. Like it's garbage. They're just making it with a handheld phone and like running around. It's shaking. Like I'm not saying it all, but I'm watching lots of
All
their
depends.
content on YouTube, and I'm like, this is garbage, and our kids are gobbling it up. Specifically, our children.
Yeah.
We just limit the screen time because I don't think they can like judge yet.
Okay, yeah. Artists often develop a deep emotional connection to their ideas, which can lead them to believe their concept is the strongest or most important direction to pursue. Because creative work often comes from personal experience, imagination, or passion, it can be difficult for artists to step outside their own perspective. When someone spends hours or even years developing a piece of art, music, choreography, or writing, they may assume that the excitement and meaning they will feel will naturally be shared by others. This can sometimes cause artists to overlook the value of outside feedback or to underestimate how differently audiences might interpret or respond to their work.
Yeah, and I think this, like, we're seeing this really clearly when people are putting stuff up and they're not getting the response they want, right? I mean, you like work so hard on something, you put a video together and you get, you know, just one like and it's your mom. I think people, you know, it's just a misunderstanding. And again, sometimes you can get feedback on it and, you know, navigate that so that you're not feeling that sense of disappointment. But I think it is kind of a good practice to really go back to like why you created the art and not make it so much about what the audience wants anyways. This only really rings true. I mean, I guess like we're going to get into like how the audience has changed too, because it could be like a scenario where you put it like in a store, right? You're trying to sell your art on a store and no one's buying it, or yeah, I don't know, or you show someone something and they're like, oh, that's great. I don't know. You know, normally when you put that much work into it, if you're asking your family members or your friends, like they're going to say they like it because they like you.
Yeah, and
right?
they do. People typically, they tell you that's a bad place to start, even if you're making YouTube videos or making art.
They say don't ask your friends.
Don't go to your friends and family because they appreciate what you do for what you do because you're you. But it's better to find customers elsewhere. That you can't rely on your friends and family. They're not going to buy all your paintings and your whatever you're doing.
I've actually heard the same thing, and like it's almost different reasoning though. Like for our mastermind companies, they often say that like the people closest to you like take you for granted.
Yeah,
so they've
exactly.
seen you do it all before, and they're just like, oh yeah, there they go again, you know, doing their art. Like they don't respect you the way a stranger does, which is so bonkers to me. Like if I could do it all again, I would totally go into human psychology because that just seems like such a...
Or, you know, they assume they're going to get the family discount.
Yeah, they're going to get it for free.
Cheap,
yeah,
free.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I agree. Now that I've like built my business, I really, I don't know. It's hard for me because I'm like, oh, it's such a beautiful community and like my students are so great and my kids are so great. So I really am passionate about like kids coming and joining my dance studio and my community because it's growing and I feel so proud of it. But I am trying to get better at just like, you know what, it's not for you. Like I don't need someone to come in and undermine me because they, you know, saw me grow up, or I don't know. I had a jaded past too. Maybe they just don't respect me because they're like, oh yeah, that girl that used to, you know, I'm not going to get into it on the podcast. Not yet.
Yeah.
It's coming. I've been writing an episode on some past stuff.
There you
It's
go.
gonna be juicy. But anyways, yeah. So it's not like lots of times, you know, my family members still see me as that like irresponsible kid that was like doing something stupid in my 20s, where I'm, you know, they don't see me now for like the respectable business person I am now. So yeah, I could see that. I could see where, you know, your audience, you know, needs to be. And again, we're in an evolutionary time where you can find the nichiest niches, right? You can find people that are into like the most obscure things. So yeah, your audience is out there. You just have to find them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, successful creative work often involves considering the perspectives and interests of other people. Audiences, collaborators, and communities all bring their own tastes, experiences, and expectations. When artists remain open to feedback and diverse opinions, they can better understand how their work is being received and whether it connects with others. This does not mean compromising artistic integrity, but rather recognizing that art exists in a relationship between the creator and the audience. By balancing personal vision with an awareness of audience response, Artists can make decisions that both express their ideas and resonate more broadly with the people experiencing their work.
Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of go through how audiences are different. And obviously, you know, we have all these like data-based platforms, these computer programs, but I think in lots of different scenarios, it's not like that. So I wanted to just talk about kind of the evolution of the audience and how it's changed on time, but also just place, right? It's a lot of times it's like in different locations.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have like, we see in early tribal art, and still today you can go in indigenous communities and they're still doing, you know, things like leather work, like making their own clothing, painting, sculpture. You know, there's lots of different stuff in tribal and indigenous communities where they're making art. There's like really beautiful like needle pointing, things like that. So I think in those specific audiences, a lot of times they're making art for like decorations, right? They're like decorating their homes or huts. They're making their architecture is artistic. So yeah, that's like a specific style of art that's like made and really celebrated within a culture, within their like small community. And then there's also, you know, things like rural areas where it's hard for people to get together. They're living on farms, they're living in communities where they're really spread out. And those arts tend to be like what we were saying, where they're celebrated by the people within your household, and you know, you're playing songs around, you're getting together around a piano and you're jamming together at Christmas. So the art just like is a really like intimate, the audience is usually people that you know, and maybe neighbors or like people that are around you, but it's just a smaller number of people that are celebrating art. And a lot of times, like, I think, yeah, we do see that we see it in our household all the time, right? Our kids are playing, they're not professional yet, but we're just so excited when they're playing a song. Yeah. You're making art all the time, putting it around the house. You're not selling it, but people are excited to see it. Like, they're excited to see your art and it's all over our walls. So I think, you know, that really intimate experience between an artist and an audience is sometimes like great because it's just one-on-one and it's personal.
Yeah, it is great.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we were talking about it before the podcast, but we were thinking it was happening with time, but it is something that has happened throughout time. There's always been like higher art, and there's always been people just making art in the fringe communities or smaller local areas. So it's interesting how things did evolve, but we did have advances in technology. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, obviously travel and ships and bringing things to other places, and then trade, and then we had like
commercialization,
newspapers and advertising, and
galleries, museums, just bigger buildings, you know, making these like big, we talked about it, we had a whole podcast about it, but these like stadiums, you know, having like stadium sized spaces for people to gather in is like pretty new thing. Yeah. 1800s.
Well, no.
1600s.
Keep going back.
I feel like though they had like conventions and stuff, you know, they'd have like the World's Fair. Yeah, the World's Fair, those kind of things. Those are interesting. Yeah. Those are.
But look, go back to, there's a lot of interesting things with those. But with, we had huge buildings in Rome and things like that.
Yeah,
and
the Colosseum.
Like, you know, the Romans and the Greeks, they had big places. Well, Egypt, there's talks of like this underground labyrinth. So we've had people doing art and bringing it to very large spaces for a long period of time. Yeah,
that's true. I guess like humans just like that, like jester experience, like dance for me, play for me, jump around for me.
It's always more recognized in the larger cities, and we've always had larger and smaller gatherings of people in our lifetime, or the lifetime of the species.
And then obviously, you know, it's gone turbo speed with the internet and social media.
Exactly. That's where we're getting.
Yeah, it's just wild. It's obviously changed the relationship between the artist and the audience. Again, platforms like video sharing sites, streaming services, and social networks allow artists to distribute their work instantly to global audiences. While this accessibility has obviously opened a lot of doors for creators, It also created a new challenge, which is the overwhelming abundance of content. And I think we're seeing just, millions of artists are sharing their work online every day. And this means that the audiences are constantly flooded with new music, new image, art, videos, and ideas. And as a result, it becomes a really competitive market. People are just like, just dying for attention, and they're spending a lot of work
very competitive.
Trying to create
it's
the art.
Hard to see something new.
Yeah.
I call it like just scrambled egg brains, because you just see so much novel stuff every single day that your mind almost just can't even process it anymore. Where 10, 20 years ago, you'd see something and be like, wow, that's amazing. And now it can just be like boop, 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 boop. And there's nothing.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And I think like the thought process isn't linear either. We're not like diving into like a whole collection. Like we talk about this a lot with the music industry, where like we're not getting like that album and we spent $35 on it and we read it front to back to front, up to down. We read every lyric. We would open the little book that came with the CD and we'd read it all through. So we're not getting this like, really deep dive into any particular piece of art. We're not sitting in, because we have the ability to look at 50 different things, 50 videos. So we're not taking the time to be like I used to, especially in my university days, like I would read like a whole report. Like I would get out we had like these indexes that we would read, and it would be like, I'm going to read this whole entire scientific paper study. And like front to back, I would read, 20-page report on something. And now I hear all the time people saying like, oh yeah, I heard this report. I heard this statistic. And I know, I'm like, they just got it from like a bite, right? They got it from a sound bite. They got like 2-liner and they're like, wow, that's like revolutionary. You got a 2-liner. You're like, whoa, my mind's blown, So we're not getting this like full linear thought process with like a deep dive into information. I think that's why we're so obsessed with the podcasting.
Yeah.
Because you are getting, a bigger dose of information all on the same topic, and your brain really has to do like some processing and some learning. It's not just like boom, 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 right?
Yeah. Well, and even that is quicker and more accessible than just reading a book.
A science paper or a book. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know we're really like moving fast today. I've tried, now that I'm like taking a step back in my business, to really try to like take more time to process things. And I really try to stay away from my phone. If I'm on my phone, I'm like working on one of my computer platforms, one of my analytic platforms, rather than just on the social media, because the social media is just so much scrambled egg brain, 100%. I just like, I walk away and I'm like, oh, I'm almost dizzy. I get this like feeling of dizziness, because it's just so much overload on the brain. So and our nervous system is operating at just like a high frequency that it's too much. The brain is made to be, I actually was just listening to someone talk about this, but the nervous system is made to be like activated, super stressed, and then super relaxed, super stressed and super relaxed. So we just keep hitting it over and over and over again, which is, it's hard on the nervous system.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then now we're into the AI world, which is really wild to think about, and I'm sure everybody's aware of it because everybody talks about it nonstop.
Yeah.
But just the rate at how fast it's progressed is just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have this, I think, a year ago, and now it's
everything.
Like, you could be like, oh, look, it'll make a picture for me, or I can talk to it.
Yeah. I just wrote that song yesterday in 1 second.
I was going to bring that up because, now we literally have computers that are making art for us, and the music is a scary one because it does a really good job.
I know. I was like, I want to have this like infinite motion
in terms
song.
of production.
Yeah.
AI still is kind of bad at writing lyrics and having creative thought like that. But
not when you use the right prompts. Like you give it such specific prompts.
It produces it so well, and it can just train its voice to be anybody, and it can sing so well. And it's so wild.
Yeah. Also, I was gonna say, like, you were talking about kind of that like seeing something crazy, right? Where you're like, wow, I saw this like crazy video. It was insane. This guy like did this thing, or, and a whale did thing. I don't know. Just, it's like seeing something crazy, where now I think it's just like everything looks crazy because as soon as you introduce AI, like anything's possible.
Well, yeah, and there's just videos of anything. It's wild too. Like people will make AI videos of kind of mundane things, like people making something in a shop, and then you can see like, wait, like none of those tools exist. Like the way they're doing that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Why are they on the 10th floor of an apartment building or something like that?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it's really
so
wild.
weird.
So then I think your mind as the audience, because now you're not the artist in that scenario, you're the audience. And as the audience, you just don't believe anything. You're like fake, 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 right?
Yeah,
so your brain just starts turning into like it doesn't believe anything.
I know.
And your
And
reaction
we should be like that.
Yeah, your reaction should be like, ew, like none of this is real, so turn it away, but we're not. We're just like keep
Good
going.
enough, I guess.
Good enough. That's fun. That's fun. That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so as technology evolves, artists must navigate a creative landscape where both human audiences and intelligent systems play a role in shaping what art is seen, heard, and valued.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one.
I know. And again, I think maybe we will go back to those roots. And like you said, like we all do things during the day where we're just like, I did that because it made me happy. And I think we need to go back to that and really understanding that like you're not trying to get clicks on Instagram. You're just doing it because it feels good. Like art is like the most like beautiful part of being a human is that like we have these creative thoughts. And we talked about it again. Well, I got to call John, and I mentioned him 2 times in an episode. But yeah, he just had this like beautiful idea that we would just like tap into our emotional intelligence. We'd just be like, yep, it's there, it's operating. Come on, help it. Like I love it. It did my taxes, it whatever, like it was able to like operate so many different systems. Every time I go to do a job in my business, I think, can AI do this for me? And that's how you should use it. Use it to like do the things, the like computational things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know how to write a song, and I don't know how to like sing a song. So it was great for me to be like, I want this piece of art and I want it to be very specific to me and my dance studio and what we're going through. And I want to be able to give it to my teacher tomorrow so she can start choreographing.
Well, that's it. And it's deadlines and stuff like that.
And it did
I'm
it.
sure you know some people that know how to sing some songs.
Yeah, for sure. It's just being patient and obviously like the financial investment in them. And then the artist is just like, I want $500 to write that song, right? And
Well,
you're like,
of course.
oh, well,
Don't
yeah,
they
I did it for
deserve
free.
it?
Yeah. No, I think we're going to get rid of the money and just go to emotional intelligence. You're just doing it for fun. If I could just call my friends, and I think the time constraint too, right? Like I needed it in one day. But yeah, I agree with you. I think we should be tapping into our artists and letting them do what they're great at, right? But yeah, AI is there, ready, cheap, and doing it for us. So yeah, we'll see. Stay tuned to see how much AI plays a role in our decision making soon. Yeah, so I really liked this idea. I was playing with the idea of like intuition versus like systematic logic. And I was thinking about just like we were talking about this with Laurel and Taylor when they were here a couple of weeks ago. So I compared it to like playing by ear versus like reading music. And I think that's kind of how we're going to see a lot of our like decision making happening, where are we, basing it on our intuitive, creative, passionate side, or are we kind of going to more of this like systematic logic side? And again, there's no right or wrong answer. It is what it is, right? You make decisions and then you have to reevaluate and then go from there and see if it was a good decision or not.
Yep. But yeah, it does seem, we got humans seem to be driven to make things easier. And I think that really is, that's been the point of technology from the start, is to make our lives easier, every tool. And that's exactly what AI is right now anyways, is just another tool that we can use. And yeah, we use it to make things easier. So yeah, now we don't have to pay a musician to write an original song. You can just have a computer come up with it for you, where yeah, sure, some people are going to get mad at that, or it can be lost opportunities. But at the same time, I think the true artists know why they make something, and when it comes from a human, it's always going to be this completely novel thing. It isn't just like a jumble of compiled information, right?
Well, yeah, and we talk about it a lot, but like the problem isn't that people are getting hired or not hired. The problem is that the expectation is that we're paying these like insane amount of money for us to just keep ourselves alive. You know, it always comes back to this like currency problem. Like it's not a problem whether people are like the rationality behind what they're using to make their decisions. It's the fact that their decisions always have to be driven in the direction of making money.
Exactly.
So yeah, if you're just left, that's why I kind of kept it vague, because I'm like, really, what do you do when you just like wake up on Saturday? You don't have to work, you have nothing to do. Like, what do you do with your time? And I think those decisions, that's the things that are like, there's nothing at stake, right? You're not losing any money when you're making these choices. You're just like, how am I going to spend my time and, you know, entertain myself? Like, I was even thinking about this. I used to have one of those. I don't anymore because it was just a pain in the butt. But like the technology was like, it was one of those Roombas. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
I bet you people still have them. But yeah,
they do.
Right? There's like an automatic vacuum. So you're like, oh, like I don't have to like vacuum anymore. This thing will just like vacuum my house all day. Right? So I think like making decisions to like buy into technology that's gonna give you the time off to do what you want. And then again, like it's wild because I really was thinking about this when I was writing this podcast, is that humans are driven to make it easier for themselves. And so we have gotten to this point where you're seeing people are like, well, I have nothing else to do, right? Like all the work's done for me. AI is taking over this. I delegated these chores out. The Roomba's vacuuming for me. I'm just going to sit here and doom scroll on my phone or watch TV, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, they're not necessarily like picking up a guitar in those moments.
Pop the TV dinner in the microwave.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I kind of went down the rabbit hole of like manipulation and marketing tactics, how like this database driven decision making has now gone into this like nice thing that we call marketing, right? And marketing has become this like hot button word, where you really want to like tap into like what's gonna drive people to like towards you, right? What's gonna bring people in, what's gonna make people spend their money on what you're selling, what's gonna sell your product, what's gonna bring people into your community. So then I started thinking about just marketing tactics that are kind of, I hate using this word, but I have to. And I think it's like manipulation. I think it's tapping into like human weakness and things that humans are like doing. And they're doing a lot of behavior analysis of like, oh, what makes a human make a decision,
if you want to
right?
say it a good way, like it's your
motivation.
People are trying to solve problems for other people.
For sure. Yeah. And they're trying to like be motivated and yeah, exactly. Yeah. They are, but I think it turns into also
if you're
like
not solving a problem and you're just trying to force feed something, then yeah, that's probably manipulation.
Yeah, and like really what's the when you're thinking about like what the problem is like the human is the problem that they're like starving, you know, they're like 500 pounds overweight is the problem, they're starving and they need more Cheetos. Like we are getting to a point where we're tapping into people's insecurities and we're finding out what motivates a human, and we're causing problems.
Yeah.
You know, with these marketing tactics. I was thinking about scarcity and rarity, how like they'll sell something and they're like, there's only 20 of these. Buy it now or you won't get it. You know, they're training people to be afraid in like a scarcity situation where they'll miss out and they're selling them things. And then also just, you know, get these markets that are driven by things that humans are doing to, maybe they're like filling a void, you know, like they're just, they're making these decisions to like eat foods that are not great for them, or, you know, take pharmaceuticals that are trying to like fix a problem that they're not actually, they're just like band-aiding the problem. So I was just thinking about, you know, the marketing industry and how it's becoming really influential on how people make decisions and really, I can't get away from the word manipulating, and they're using these like things that humans are vulnerable, and then, you know, we're gonna sell them this beauty product because they feel ugly, we're gonna sell them this medication because they feel depressed. So there is this kind of thing happening between like the artist and the audience that is freaking me out a little bit. It's making me a little nervous about the future for our kids, really. I mean, I think we're old enough, we made it through already, that we make our decisions from a educated / creative standpoint, but I don't know about the kids. And I think they're really tapping into like the dopamine circuit. And really, I mean, you look at like, if you're making decisions based on like how many views you have, how many clicks you have, how many millions of dollars you have, a lot of the times those people will also be reporting like the greatest feelings of unhappiness and depression and unhealthiness, right? They're not necessarily like doing great.
Yeah, I think to get to that point, you have to throw out some of your morality to get there.
Like the artists that are doing these things?
The billionaires.
Yeah, I know like from my own point of view, like as a business owner, like right now I'm in this like really tiny place in my business where like I'm just scraping by, and I feel like I'm an artist. You know, I'm picking things that I'm offering to my population, and I do feel like an artist. Curating an experience for people.
Sure.
It's performance art. Obviously, like, you know, the dancing is like a really artistic thing. I'm not choreographing anymore, but I still feel like the business is like a really artistic thing. And then at some point it gets to be where, yeah, you're like, oh, they don't want it, but I'm going to give it to them anyways. They don't need it, but like they're taking it, you know? So yeah, that was just my, my misery moment for the podcast.
Yeah.
It just freaks me out because now like you're kind of influencing people's decisions in like not a great way. People are making poor choices and we're just like capitalizing on it.
All right. So now we're going to talk about how artists make decisions.
Yep.
We're going through the whole thing, you think? Yeah, I think we can.
This is behind the scenes.
Yeah. Artists typically make decisions through a combination of intuition, emotional response, and reflection. Many creative people describe their process as feeling their way toward the right choice rather than a calculated outcome. So, common ways artists make decisions is intuitive decision making. Artists often rely heavily on instinct when choosing colors, melodies, choreography, or themes. They may ask themselves what feels right rather than what is objectively correct. This intuitive thinking is developed over time through experience and repeated creative practice.
Yeah, so there's do you have something to say about that?
Oh yeah, well, exactly. As it is definitely something that you gain over time. Like you can have an idea, and it's really interesting to see an artist kind of create a style that is like their own style, and they've created this process over trying different things, and then they found something that they're like, yep, this is what I'm going to do, and then they can manipulate it different ways as they go along. It's an interesting process, but yeah, exactly. There's no correctness in the method.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's true. The stylistic, that you can identify them by their style is really cool. Like a visual artist or music, right? You're like, oh, I know it's that person because of the way they're singing.
But it's interesting too, because there is theory, and like even something like classical painting, that was something that some artist learned how to do like on his own through an intuitive process. Like, oh, if I do it this way, it'll be very realistic. Yeah. But now that's something that is taught in a school. Yeah. Like, if you want to paint realistic, do this, like do this, do person. This. Yeah. And now that has become like a proper way of how to do that art. So. Yeah. And that's like kind of the mastermind collective idea too, which is really cool. I was telling you before the episode that, yeah, like we sit on these calls and like I'll bring something up. And, you know, I got 500 other dance studio owners being like, well, this is what I do. This is what I do. This is what I do. So I think, yeah, the fact that like these styles and these like thought theories, you know, these like educational practices kind of develop out of, you're right. Originally, it was like one guy's way of doing it. And now like everyone does it like that, which is cool. Everyone starts to like copy. Yeah. Iteration and experimentation. So obviously artists frequently make decisions by trying multiple versions of something. A songwriter may rewrite their lyrics several times. A dancer may experiment, and we do this all the time in the choreography. A dancer may experiment with different movements. So I'll try something and then I'm like, oh, I don't really like that. Okay, you guys go back and try this, and like try this jump instead, or do this twirl in the end. A painter may adjust the layers of the colors until the piece feels complete.
The decision emerges through an exploration rather than a single moment of choice. And I think this is like goes without saying, you know, you try something, you're like, I don't like it, I'm going to erase it or start again. Or yeah, the more you do it, the more you start becoming more experienced.
Yeah, I think that's like the true artistic process is just keep on trying, keep on keeping on. So sometimes the medium that you're using only allows you to do one time. You screw it up, then it's done, right? So it's interesting to continue trying something until you perfect it.
Yeah.
Where sometimes, if you're doing a painting, you can paint over top, and some paintings are like layer cakes of paint just all over the place, and it's fun to do a style or a medium like that.
Yeah.
But when you're just doing, say, like,
sculpture,
like
woodworking,
a sculpture, boom, you took too much off there.
You're done.
Now you're redoing it or that is what it is. Actually, sculpture is a good example of that too.
Yeah, you cut it, like it's done.
Yeah.
How about when you overcook your chicken for an hour?
Oh, yeah.
That happened to us last week. Our house still smells like smoke. I'm no longer allowed to be the culinary artist. I've been kicked out of the kitchen for good.
No, just if you're gonna cook, then cook in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh, I can't.
You have to.
Okay.
All right, the third one was emotional feedback. Creative decisions are strongly influenced by emotion. Artists may choose ideas that evoke stronger feelings, communicate meaning more clearly, or connect with audiences in a deeper way.
I love this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
When you can like truly pour emotion into something, I think it's good art.
I was thinking like from the audience perspective, like so many times I'll like hear a song and I'm just like bawling my eyes out. And I'm like, oh, they just hit me so hard. Like I can't, you know, I'm so, or the other way where I'm just like, I am pumped up right now. Like now I just, we're going to talk about this in a few episodes. I started writing the episode and then we switched to this one instead. But the episode is like making hard choices. It's along the same lines, but it ended up going in a different direction. But I was just thinking, I just started recently going to the gym and I go every morning and now like it's wild. Like some music just like pumps you up. Like you're on fire. You're just so excitable. So yeah, I think the emotional part of art is why we do it. That's like our human part of why, you know, art is so powerful because it gives us these like really good or really bad feelings. And we talk about this often on the podcast of like, both are good. Like you should feel those feelings. And I think that's why I'm struggling with people that are like medicating themselves for depression. Cause I'm like, you gotta feel that, sit in the suck, like sit in it. Cause then the next day when you're like, whoa, you know, like yesterday was bad. I felt bad yesterday. It's the relativity of all of a sudden you're like, oh, I feel so good today because I sat in the suck yesterday. Yeah,
sometimes. And I think that is a good point too, is that, any type of emotion is good. Whereas, you know, you'll have like a really, say like a deep acoustic songwriter and they'll be like, oh, you know, electronic music is stupid or whatever. But then just bringing out that like, you know, sure, the lyrics don't mean much, but the feeling that it brings into you to be like so excited and pumped up and energized. Yeah. That's worth a lot too.
Oh yeah. I'm like, I could lift this table right now. Like I am on fire. I'm invincible. That's a really powerful feeling. Yeah. That's why we use those like pump up tracks.
And then that's just made through like drum beats and like the synthesizer sounds and notes. Like it is really a interesting art form.
Oh, the drums, man. Drums are everything. And drums are really like like a Aboriginal or indigenous instrument. Like they were the OG. They used to just have singing and drumming. Yeah. So yeah.
I'm doing that because I've really been kind of studying electronic music a bit. I try and break it down like, oh, what makes this good? What makes this one not very good? And
I don't know if you guys
messing around with it.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if you guys know this, but Jake writes all the music for the podcast. So yeah, if you're digging the electronic music in the in-betweens of our podcast, that's Jacob experimenting with electronic music. Yeah. Great. Constraint-based decisions. We talk about this a lot too on the podcast, kind of creating these capsules, like creating these, like, what are you looking at?
Oh, I got to turn the furnace off.
Oh, yeah. We talk about these capsules, kind of like creating creating structure for yourself. So creative decisions often involve practical factors. Like, so for example, there might be a deadline. You might be, have a performance coming up, so you have to create the art. You might have a budget, so you only have like a certain amount of money that you can use to create your art. Your materials might be limited. You might not be able to get a hold of stuff. You might have like an upcoming an upcoming show, so you have to like collaborate with others to like work on it with your bandmates. So there's lots of different things and we talk about this sometimes with our musician friends, especially, where they'll like put constraints on themselves. So like their decision making ends up being like a really balanced creativity, because they're putting in like limitations. Like they'll say, oh, I'm going to write a song about this, or I'm going to write a song that reminisces about this, or has this emotion, or sounds like this person. So I think these like constraints and these structures around our decision making for our art can be really powerful too.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I always do that with the mandala. Like I'll draw a different type of grid and then stay within that grid, and depending on how I draw that grid really determines the outcome of what the piece is going to be like.
Yeah, and I have the same thing with dance. Like we're kind of constrained by the genre. So like if it's a ballet dance, I'm not using, pump up music. I'm using something that's like a slower pace and more soft, more melodic. If we're doing a jazz dance, like I have to pick a piece of music that's like, like 132 BPM. It's like pumping, they have to have like, yeah. So I think like we use these type of constraints all the time in our art. And again, you have like your amount of money and materials too, right? You're like, oh, all I have is blue and green paint. I guess I'm making a blue and green picture today. I find that a lot with the kids, because the kids are like, I want to paint, I want to draw and color. And I'm like, well, this is what you get. Like, I'm not going out to the art store to buy you, like crazy amounts of art or product. You're going to use what we have. So yeah, I think it is what it is. It's usually a good thing for artists to work within their structures and their parameters.
Yep. I'm going to say we should take a break.
Oh, you always do this.
What?
You always want to take a break. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's time for a break.
Yeah. We will be back. Back today talking all about decision making. I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder to check out our new website, artisticallymarried.com. Also, if you know anyone that is in the business world or art world that would enjoy and benefit from hearing this episode, if you guys can pass it along. This is our form of currency right now. We are trying to keep this commercial free, so if you guys can help us out and send it to someone that would be interested, that would be great. So yeah, we're talking about decision making today, how the artist makes decisions, and kind of working together between the intuitive part of our decision making brain and the practical data driven platforms that we can use today to connect with our audiences and make decisions in our art. So I think the biologist in me wanted to break down just a couple parts of the brain. So we'll try not to get too sciencey on you guys and just talk really surface level about some like rudimentary psychology. So the actual decision-making process happens in the brain in two different parts, in two different places, two different regions that work together as the prefrontal cortex. And it's responsible for planning, evaluating options, and reasoning. So it's the rational part of your brain. And then the limbic system, which is more your area where you're responsible for emotions, motivations, and rewards. So an artist often will engage both of these systems simultaneously to tap into like an emotional inspiration that will drive their idea. And they're also using their cognitive processes to shape and then redefine it.
Yeah, this was like a really popular concept in psychology and neuroscience. I remember tons of discussion about it when I was in university, at Brock University, and it was really just talking kind of like the left brain, the right brain dominant. We don't hear this too much anymore. It's still true. It's still all relevant psychology and science, biology, but it's becoming not as like, I think now we just have so much more. We have so much more in terms of like our diagnostics. We've introduced like PET scans, which is like positron emission topography, where we can actually see which areas of the brain are lighting up when people are doing something. We talked about this in our episode with the spark of genius, kind of the science behind it. So it's not like it's not true. It's becoming kind of like diminished based on the science that we have going on now. But it's still really true. It's still like left, right hemispheres of the brain operating kind of different processes. So your left side, your left hemisphere typically does your logical reasoning, your language processing, it's your mathematical thinking, sequential problem solving, and attention to detail. So people that are like, they'll say like your left brain or right brain, it's not like you exclusively use one side of your brain. It'll just be that like one side is like more predominant or more impactful within a person. So
I thought the left was the artistic one.
So your left brain is your processing and your right brain is because it crosses. So it crosses your body. So
Right.
if you're left brain,
I had them mixed up, I guess.
yeah. 50-50 shot, right?
Yeah.
I always get those ones wrong. But no, your left brain is really like calculated and processing, and that actually crosses over to your right hand. So right-handed people are like the predominant of the population. Most of the population is a right-handed, and it's because they're left brain dominant. The left brain controls the right hand, and the right brain controls the left hand. Same with your eyeballs, your ears. It crosses over that like brain.
Yeah. I'm left-handed, not left-brained.
Yeah, exactly. Your right brain, left-handed, if that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, people that are more like left brain dominant, again, everyone uses both sides of their brain, but if they're dominant on the left side, they tend to be more like a calculated person and they're more analytical in their decision making. And then, yeah, like Jacob mentioned, so your right hemisphere tends to be more responsible for like spatial awareness, pattern recognition. It's more involved in your imagination. It's that emotional intelligence. So you'll find that people that are like left-handed are right-brained, right hemisphere dominant. They tend to be a little more artistic, tend to be really innovative in like idea creating. They'll be like music composers. So yeah, they tend to be like a more creative being.
Yeah.
And again, like I mentioned, everyone's going to use both sides of their brain. Although the left and the right brain distinction is helpful for understanding different styles of thinking, the creative decision maker is really using both sides of their brain. I mean, you're going to use something that's, the creative idea, the spark of genius, and then you're going to send it over to the left side to like process out how you're going to actually execute the idea. So it really is like a combination of intuition and technique.
Yeah, music is a good example for that, where you can have like a whimsical melody, but when you also button it down to a specific timing, then all of a sudden that becomes music that everybody can relate to.
Yeah, we need both, right?
For sure.
So really it is about like the whole brain creativity. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about is burnout. Ugh, I felt that this week. I feel like I
felt that with the time change.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like you just felt tired.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Daylight savings is hard. I hope we abolish it. Apparently British Columbia is no more daylight savings time, so let's do it in Ontario too.
Vote for it.
Yes.
Who can we reach out to that's going to let us do this?
Daylight savings.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always talk about it.
Who's going to decide it?
Yeah, who I don't know who pulls the trigger on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now our phones just do it automatically, so somebody's got to tell that to
someone's got to reprogram all the things.
Yeah.
Maybe they should send out a database survey before they make the decision. Because I would guess most people hate it.
Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who likes it.
Yeah,
I don't know one person who said, I love daylight savings
give me
time.
the
I'm
hour
excited.
at night. Not
Yeah.
why do I need it at 6 a.m?
Yeah. It's just a weird pattern to go through. Like everyone's always like, oh, I'm late because I didn't turn my clock back. Like
Yeah.
you'll find in every place, there's always like somebody being like, I didn't know what time
Yeah,
it was.
and it's all the circadian rhythm stuff we've
Yeah.
been talking about. And
Totally. The sun.
12 o'clock noon, that means the sun is directly above you. And now when we do daylight savings, it's off an hour.
Right?
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. But this is actually talking about decision fatigue. And like sometimes I'll find that where I'm like making decision after decision after decision. I'm sitting at the computer and that's really all I do now in the business. I'm like, when are we going to have something? Who's going to be involved? What's it going to cost? Where is it going to go? I'm just constantly making decisions on details of like how the business is going to run and where we're going to allocate our resources. And yeah, there's times where literally it'll be like, 3:00 in the afternoon and I just drop my head onto the desk because I can't make any more decisions. And it tends to be like business owners that are really like capable of doing all this like really fast decision making. This process happens like every second of every day for us. We think of a creative idea, we go through all the data, we compare it to our notes, we make the decision, we move on, we do it again and again and again all day. So I think decision fatigue is something that it's really plaguing, and it's consuming over time. Over time, your nervous system is just like riding on such a high that you end up crashing from it. So you do see this with composers, choreographers, designers, writers, and hundreds of other different artists that are trying to make decisions in a single project experience this kind of burnout.
Oh, definitely. You feel it while making art too. Sometimes you're trying to write a song and something just doesn't come. Like you can be walking around throughout a day and melodies will kind of just hit you out of nowhere. And then sometimes you're like, all right, I'm going to get down in my studio and put something together, and it just doesn't work. Or you're drawing a piece of art and you've, made so many decisions to finish that piece, and you finish it. And finally at the end of that, you're just like, woof, like that was just a lot. Like I want to give that some time.
Yeah.
Before I start on a new one and just have to, go through making all those decisions again.
Yeah, it's so heavy. It feels like such an emotional investment when you're doing it. You're just like, oh, I'm so like emotionally tired.
You're so excited to get started on the next one, and you just start it up right away. But
I will find now that, like I mentioned, I'm like going to the gym every day. I'm finding that like, and maybe it wasn't because I wasn't in a scenario where I was like just free forming movement. Like when I was teaching 30 classes a week 2 years ago, every time I was moving my body, it was like I was even making decisions then. I wasn't just like doing this like movement exercise where I was like not thinking when I was moving. When I was moving, I was calculated. I was making decisions like, is it the left arm? Is it the right arm? Am I going to go to the, am I going to go down? Am I going to go up? Like it was still such like a decision-based process. But now that I'm just like going to the gym like in the morning, I mean, I have to decide like what machine I'm going to use and like what activity. But once I get going, it is like a monotonous thing. It's just like, oh, okay, I'm on the elliptical or I'm like running. And it's wild. Like people always claim that those are like their like greatest scenarios where like ideas just come to them, the creative like process and decision making just like happens so free forming so easily.
Yeah, routine. I know a lot of artists will say they get that when they're driving, and just because you're in that space when your brain is free to think.
Yeah, you're on autopilot you're physically. I know, but it's just so monotonous to your brain. Your brain's just like, I can do this without even thinking. Walking, like going for a walk. Yeah. I know tons of artists that are like, oh, when I have to think about something, I just go for a walk, and then like the answer comes to me. So I think, yeah, there are these like different ways that people combat this creative burnout. So yeah, number one is the built-in routines. You build it into routine and creative habit where you like get in a scenario where you're just moving and you're not thinking about it so much. So like consciously. And then, yeah, limiting unnecessary choices. So this has been like, life-changing for my business is working on systems. And I know it sounds so vague, and until you're like in the thick of like running a business, you don't really understand what like systematizing means. But it just means that like you write all your, like when you go to make a decision, instead of just making the decision, I write out kind of like the rubric of how I made the decision so that I can pass it off to someone else. Or the next time I go to make the decision, I'm like, oh yeah, I already did this. And then I just go through the steps again. So it's like, it's really like systematizing my decision making. And it's been like life changing for me. I have like a project management tool now. So I'm able to like plug, as I'm having ideas, I'm plugging them in, and then I can just like rinse, repeat. And that's been like really great for creative burnout. And also really awesome when you're like super confident about the system to be able to hand it off to someone else. To be able to be like, okay, this is how I make the decision. Now you do it, and just follow my recipe for like how you do this decision making process. And then, yeah, breaks, resets, like it's wild. Sometimes I'll just like put my face down and I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like I took like a 4-minute nap or something. You just take a brain relax, right? Or I'll like lay on the floor and I'm like, okay, just gonna sit here for 5 minutes and then move on. I've read lots of, I think the last one I was reading about was like a testimony from Martha Stewart, and she said like it's wild. She works like 18-hour days every single day because she's wild. She has her own, like, she's writing books, she has magazines, she went to jail, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just involved in so much. Like her business is so robust that, yeah, she was saying like she works 18-hour days and she just takes like these like 5-minute breaks every hour where she'll just like stop what she's doing, go for a little walk outside, or like go in her garden, or you know, just like, yeah, lay on the floor. I was like, I'm going to try this, just laying on the floor thing. And it really works. You just kind of need like a couple minutes where you're just like, I'm not doing anything. And just like, try to quiet your mind, right?
Sure.
Try to calm your nervous system down. Oh, I love this one so much. This is my favorite way of now making decisions, is collaborating with other people. Oh, it takes so much pressure off you. Like you just feel like you're empowering other people. And like now you get like, when I'm asking other people for their ideas, like I get so many great ideas. And again, going back to the top of our episode, like I was so biased. I was just this one person thinking that my ideas were the best. And now I got all these young people and like their ideas are way better. Their choreography is way better. Like they have so much energy to like put into these decision-making processes, where I'm only making maybe 5 decisions on like a more like not global level, but I'm making like more of like a macro level decision, and they're making all like the little micro level decisions that I don't have the capacity for anymore. So yeah, that's been like the best, getting into my mastermind company. Instead of me making a decision and trying to go research papers, I just like, boom, I have 500 other dance studio owners in front of me, and they tell me what they did. And I'm like, oh yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that. Boom, done. Like they present me with like 5 ideas and I'm like, these are great. Oh, and ChatGPT, that's like a whole other,
Yeah.
The
Now
AI devices,
robot.
right? Ask the robots. The robots are so smart. They know so much. So that's still, I think I consider the AI collaborating with others. You're collaborating with so many because it's pulling from so much, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, simplified it as just a internet search tool. But more complicated, it does much more than that.
I always felt this too when I was using ChatGPT, because it was such like a black and white answer. It wasn't like a full body answer. And I really did come from a place of like, when I was doing research in university and in my master's degree, I was like reading full science papers. Like I wanted to know like all the details. I wanted to actually see the graphs and whatever, right? So it was a hard thing for me to like switch over. I like it when it's giving you just ideas. I'm like, tell me 5 crafts, like give me 4 things to do with kids age 3 to 7 years old. I like those type of like brainstorming things. But like for writing for the podcast, it was really hard for me because I was like, my decision making for the podcast is like so big. Like I want to tell all the information, all the ideas around this one topic. So I had a really hard time. So yeah, I've started to use like Gemini and I find it like a lot more thorough because it's giving me like full websites. It's like, this is where I found it. ChatGPT does it too, but like Gemini's doing it a lot more like thoroughly.
Okay.
So yeah, actually I'm starting to switch over. I'd rather get a whole bunch of sources and like a whole bunch of information rather than these just like bite sizes. Like ChatGPT I find is like very decisive. Like it picks one answer and it's the right answer. and Gemini is doing more of like it's working with Google, so it's like more of like a website based AI tool. I don't know. There's so many tools out there. I did like an AI course a couple of years ago online, and I worked with a whole bunch of ones. But yeah, really anyone you get, you really need to start prompting better. And now I just use the microphone. So like as if I was calling one of my friends, I'm just like da 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 da, and then it gives me a whole bunch more information. The prompts are like better when you could just give it all the details. You don't want to type it, you just say it. It's great. It really is helping with decision making. Gives you some ideas anyways. Yeah. Any final thoughts?
I don't know. I think making decisions is basically living as a human being.
100%. Every second of every day you're making a decision, right?
Yeah.
Like, where am I going to move this body? Where's this meat going today?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a really cool.
And I think actually our capacity to make decisions that aren't what we're supposed to do might be something that kind of defines our species a little bit. You know, we don't, if you look at the animal world, they're much more routine.
Yeah.
Where we can just do the wildest things. Or yeah.
Yeah,
that was my thought.
Yeah, no, I agree. I haven't really thought of that, but you're right. Like humans are just that is being human, is thinking like kind of outside the box and just always pushing the boundaries. We're always like, what crazier thing can I do tomorrow? But you're right. Animals are just, they're so, they're so trained and they're so methodical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Humans are not. Humans are like constantly trying to push the boundary and do something like wacky that they've never done before. I think that is our dopamine button. And I know we talk about that a lot, but I think that is like the dopamine neurotransmitter in the brain where you're like, if I've already done this before, then it's just going to be less and less entertaining to me. Humans really are about like getting their rocks off. Like they want to make decisions that are going to put them in a scenario. Lots of times I make decisions, I'm like, why did I do that? Like the Buddhist philosophy has this like really cool idea that we're always like, how do I word it? We're like asking for what we experience, you know, like, if you're experiencing pain or heartache, it's because like you wanted to experience it. And I feel like that kind of is a thing for humans. Like sometimes you're like comfortable, everything's good. Like, oh, well, I can think of one example, you know, our situation's great. Our studio's like doing well. I'm doing better than I ever have. It's growing. It's great. And I want to like throw myself into total disarray by like moving the studio and getting this bigger building, which we haven't talked about on the podcast. But yeah, we're trying to move the studio into a bigger commercial space.
You might have mentioned it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I mean, it's a perfect example, right? I'm steady, I'm good, I'm stable. We could ride this forever for the rest of our lives and be like content. Probably go on vacation 5 times a year.
Yep.
And instead, I'm going to shackle myself to this other crazier decision to grow the studio and make, you know, in the off chance it's going to be worse.
Yep.
But it'll be exciting and thrilling. So like that's the human construct. Making decisions to feel crazy. Feel something different, I guess. Feel something new.
All right.
So go and make all your decisions. Make them with an artistic mind, but look at the data.
Yep.
And subscribe and like.
Sure.
Good night.
Don't forget to follow us on Spotify and you'll never miss a podcast.
Good night.